Welcome to the major events of Afghanistan on Wednesday, August 6th. Children in Afghanistan wake up early in the morning, but not to go to school. Instead, they get up to work and earn a piece of bread for their families. In Afghanistan, under Taliban rule, thousands of Afghan children are forced to do hard labor instead of getting an education. UNICEF statistics show that 1 out of every 5 children in Afghanistan is engaged in labor. We have prepared a report on the heartbreaking situation of child laborers who sacrifice their future for a piece of bread for their families.
On the Kabul airport road, where the sound of industrial tools and the smell of fuel and iron fill the air, you can see children working in car repair shops. During a visit to several repair shops or workshops, I saw children wearing dirty work clothes that were much too big for their small frames. Some of them were working alongside their fathers, while others were repairing vehicles on their own. One of the local masters told me that he is aware of the hard labor children are doing.
We know that children should be studying, and when they are learning, when they are getting an education, they shouldn't be working. If they have to work, then the best person to care for them is their father. He can make sure that even if they do work, it's not hard labor. Not this kind of hard and heavy work.
Another mechanic said that his son goes to school and also helps him in the repair shop in the afternoons. He added, "I have no choice. I am forced to do this."
Day by day, poverty is increasing. Now, supporting a household with one person is difficult. Due to poverty and unemployment, we are forced to make our children work underage. He goes to school half the day, works other half.
Another man at a nearby repair shop gave a different reason. He said, "We bring our sons here so they can learn something. Today's work is their investment for tomorrow."
It's so that in the future, they can stand on their own feet, so they can handle things better themselves. They have a life. They have a future. How long will their father be alive?
But not everything comes down to education. A young man who had brought his car to one of these workshops for repairs said that poverty has forced children to do hard labor instead of playing and studying.
My name is Faisal. Many of these kids, just for a few pieces of bread to take home to their families, are forced to come to these workshops and work under harsh bosses, under whoever will take them on. All these years, I have 3 little daughters. Every night when I go to sleep and wake up in the morning, I worry that day by day they're getting older. But what will happen to their schooling? What will become of their future?
Despite the widespread phenomenon of child labor in Afghanistan under the Taliban administration, the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs of the caretaker government says there are no accurate statistics on child laborers. Nevertheless, Samuel Ibrahimi, the spokesperson for this ministry, said that orphaned and vulnerable children are referred to orphanages so they can receive the necessary support.
The Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs has established orphanages in all provinces, including Kabul, where more than 10,000 orphaned and unaccompanied children are cared for and raised. In addition to Kabul, orphanages for orphaned and unaccompanied girls have also been set up in 14 provinces, and fortunately, all services there are provided by women. All expenses for the children's education, health care, accommodation, food, and clothing are covered by the budget of the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. Additionally, inspectors from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs visit areas where children are engaged in hard labor. They guide and instruct employers in order to prevent child labor. And if employers repeatedly assign children to hard labor, this is considered a violation of the law, and the relevant inspectors from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs will take action against them.
In the fruit market in the Taimani area of Kabul, children could also be seen working alongside their fathers. One of these children, who sells watermelons with his father, said that the reason he works is to help his family and meet the needs of life.
I come with my father. My father is here alone. I come to help him out. I shoulder the work so that, Whether my father has a job or not, I can take his place. He should feel reassured knowing that I'm here. I wish I could study, learn English, study computers, learn Arabic, study math. But right now the situation is just too bad. It's not possible.
According to some estimates, nearly 90% of people in Afghanistan live below the poverty line, and many families have no choice but to send their children to work.
The media environment in Afghanistan is getting darker by the day. The International Federation of Journalists has announced that the Taliban detained 7 journalists in the month of July alone. From abuser Salpali, the director of the Tawana news agency, to media workers who have been arrested on charges of collaborating with so-called biased media outlets. We have a report on the intensifying crackdown on freedom of expression in Afghanistan. We now present it to you.
The International Federation of Journalists says that the intensification of repression against media activists by the Taliban is a clear and ongoing denial of press freedom and freedom of expression. In a statement published on Thursday, this federation said that the continued imprisonment of journalists, the imposition of strict media regulations, and pressure on independent media have destroyed the outlook for journalism in Afghanistan. The Federation added that journalists who continue to report in Afghanistan still face threats, harassment, detention, and violence. The International Federation of Journalists added that the Taliban government detained at least 7 journalists in July of this year. This organization and its partner, the Independent Journalists Union of Afghanistan, have called on the Taliban government to immediately release all detained journalists and to stop suppressing independent and critical media outlets. It has also been reported that abuser Sarpol, the director of Tawana news agency and head of the Afghanistan Media Institute, along with his 2 colleagues, Bashir Hatif and Shakib Ahmad Nazari, were detained by the Taliban's Ministry for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice on July 24th. The statement does not specify in which province they were detained. The International Federation of Journalists has stated that the Taliban accused these individuals of receiving money from Anama, UNESCO, and the Iranian government to promote women's employment and to encourage the publication of critical reports about the Taliban, as well as of moral corruption and social deviation. Their confessions were recorded and broadcast under pressure, and their current whereabouts are unknown. The statement continues that Ahmad Nawad Asghar and Mashkak Ahmad Halimi, the director and deputy director of the media production company Pixel Media, were also detained in Kabul in late July on charges of dubbing non-Islamic serials, but after making confessions, they were released on July 30th. The statement adds that an employee of an unidentified media outlet in Kabul was also detained in July on charges of technical cooperation with exiled Afghan media, but there is no information about his condition. Additionally, in early July, a provincial journalist was detained for publishing a report contrary to the Taliban's views, but was released after 2 days upon pledging to follow the Taliban's media guidelines. The International Federation of Journalists added that by the end of July, 30 journalists had been released from Taliban detention. The Taliban government has recently denied involvement in these matters and, in previous reports, has attributed the detention of journalists to pressure from their own superiors. Meanwhile, Richard Bennett, the UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Afghanistan, says that currently 11 media workers are being held in Taliban custody. On Monday, during an online meeting hosted by Human Rights Watch, he commented on this issue, saying,
"In the context of the ongoing shrinking of civil space and the increasing restrictions, we are witnessing pressure on the media. According to our information, currently 11 media workers in Afghanistan are in Taliban custody."
This comes after the Afghanistan Journalist Support Organization said on July 30th that, over the past month, there have been worrying incidents regarding access to information and freedom of expression. In a statement, the organization said that recent detentions, threats, and restrictions against journalists and media workers in Afghanistan have created serious obstacles to independent media activities in the country.
A dangerous information game has begun in the region. The British newspaper The Daily Telegraph has reported that Iran's Revolutionary Guard has asked the Taliban to grant access to a list of 25,000 former Afghan collaborators of the dissolved British mission. This request has been made at a time when pressure on Iran over its nuclear program has increased. In this part of our news magazine, we have a report on security concerns and the possibility of these details being used as a tool for diplomatic pressure, which we now present.
The British newspaper The Telegraph has reported that officials from Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are trying to obtain the leaked list of former Afghan collaborators with British forces in Afghanistan. The report, published on Monday, August 4th, states that they have requested the list of 25,000 people from the Taliban and are trying to identify and track down MI6 spies, the British Secret Intelligence Service. The report also states that Iran wants to use this issue as leverage to put pressure on the West regarding its nuclear program. Zabihullah Mujahid, the spokesperson for the Taliban government, and Hamidullah Fitrat, the deputy spokesperson, did not respond to questions on this matter. However, the Telegraph newspaper has reported that a senior official in Tehran has confirmed that the leadership of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps has officially requested the Taliban to hand over this list. The report states that after the Taliban regained power in Afghanistan, a number of former Afghan collaborators with Britain went to Iran and are still living in that country. The Telegraph newspaper has said that in recent days, at least one Afghan who was on this list has been deported from Iran, which indicates possible cooperation between the Taliban and Iran in this matter. The report also states that officials from Iran's Revolutionary Guard have set up a special committee to obtain this list, and that talks between Kabul and Tehran on this issue have already begun. According to the Telegraph report, the Taliban leadership in Kandahar has ordered its officials in Kabul to arrest these individuals so they can be used as a means of diplomatic pressure against Britain. The newspaper writes that the Taliban leadership in Kandahar believes these individuals are still cooperating with Britain. Although previously the Taliban government spokesperson had said they are committed to their leader's general amnesty decree, a Taliban official told the Telegraph that spies are not included in this general amnesty. This request has raised concerns about the safety of these individuals and the possibility of potential confrontations with them. A former colleague of the British forces in Iran, who says he has been living there with his family of four for almost a year and due to the sensitivity of the matter, did not want his name mentioned in the report, said that the issue of deportation on one hand and the disclosure of the list on the other have made him extremely worried. He said, on the condition that his voice be altered, that they must be relocated from there as soon as possible.
Every day, the risk of daily deportation exists here. After the list was leaked, our fear has increased. Our request is that Britain take action on this matter as soon as possible and seriously begin the process of transferring the remaining Afghan colleagues.
Some former British colleagues in Afghanistan also say that they are in a dire situation. One of them, who also did not want his name mentioned in the report due to the sensitivity of the issue, said on the condition that his voice be altered,
that this situation is still unclear for us.
The matter of our relocation is still uncertain. After the list was leaked, the danger has increased. It is said that many of our colleagues have been captured and killed by the Taliban. This is a bad situation for us.
According to reports, this list was leaked in February 2022, and the British government, in order to prevent these individuals' lives from being put at risk, blocked the issue from becoming public and secretly began implementing a plan to relocate some of its Afghan colleagues. It is said that the names and details of at least 100 members of the MI6 branch of the British forces are also included in this list. The Telegraph newspaper previously reported that after the list was leaked, the Taliban targeted and killed more than 200 Afghan colleagues of the British. However, at that time, Hamidullah Fitrat, the deputy spokesperson for the Taliban government, denied this claim in interviews with several domestic media outlets. He said there was no need to use British documents, as these documents already exist in their relevant security agencies. He also emphasized that a general amnesty has been declared and there is no need for legal pursuit of individuals. The newspaper has stated that Iran is trying to obtain a list of these individuals at a time when pressure on the country over its nuclear program has been increasing recently. The report also states that Britain, France, and Germany have recently threatened Tehran that if there is no progress in the nuclear negotiations by the end of this month, they will reimpose previous United Nations Security Council resolutions, which could not only restrict Iran's nuclear program, but also impose limitations on the entire Iranian economy.
a new wave of Afghan expulsions from Pakistan has begun. Hundreds of holders of refugee cards, or POR cards, have recently been forcibly returned from Pakistan to Afghanistan. This is happening while the validity period of these cards, which reportedly belong to about 4 million Afghans, has not been extended. Watch this report on the difficult situation of Afghan migrants and the challenges they are facing.
After the news broke about the expulsion of Afghan migrants holding proof of registration, POR, cards from Pakistan, some representatives of these Afghan migrants in Pakistan say that the process of deporting Afghans has intensified and hundreds of people have been forcibly returned from this country to Afghanistan in recent days. Asadullah, one of the representatives of Afghan migrants holding POR cards in Islamabad, said on Tuesday, August 25th, that those who have been deported or are on the verge of deportation include women, men, and elderly people whose homes and belongings have been left behind without anyone to look after them.
They have been detained, and arrest has started in the Barak houses. From the Barak house area, women, men, and the elderly have all been taken away, leaving their homes without anyone, and they have been prepared for deportation. Around 300 Afghans have been deported across the border, and a number of others are in the deportation center, ready to be deported. It's possible they were moved either yesterday or today. We took action.
Malik Aslam, another representative of Afghans holding POR cards in Islamabad, also confirms the intensification of these deportations, saying that those with these cards are so afraid of being arrested by the police that they can't even leave their homes. He has shared a voice message from an Afghan POR cardholder who is currently detained by the Pakistani police without providing any details about his identity. In part of his remarks, this Afghan claims that the Pakistani police are extorting bribes from these migrants and treating them poorly.
Because from some people they demand 70,000, from others 80,000 rupees. Even if someone has strong connections, they still ask for 70,000. These are the people who are here. If one of them says, "I don't even have a single rupee," still, he says, "I'll give you 1 rupee. Please let me go. My children are very young. There's no one at home for me. I swear, even a dog has more dignity, but migrants have none. The boy who was sitting on the chair kicked him and knocked him off the chair. Thank you."
According to a letter from Pakistan's Ministry of Interior that was recently leaked and published by some journalists and media outlets, the government has been ordered to expel Afghan refugees holding POR cards from Pakistan starting from August 1st. The Associated Press news agency has also recently reported that Pakistan has begun the process of forcibly deporting Afghan migrants holding POR cards. The Pakistani government has not officially announced the forced deportation of POR card holders. However, Mohsin Naqvi, Pakistan's interior minister, said in a press conference on July 8 that the government has decided not to extend these cards. Many holders of these cards had hoped that the validity period, which expired on June 30th, would be extended. This decision affects about 1.4 million Afghans who hold POR registration cards. Holders of the POR card and several international organizations have repeatedly asked the Taliban government to extend the validity of their cards. The POR is a refugee card that was issued to Afghan refugees in 2007 by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, recently stated that from the beginning of 2011 to July 19, 340,000 Afghans have returned from Pakistan to Afghanistan. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, says that the return of asylum seekers from neighboring countries at such a scale could further destabilize Afghanistan's already fragile situation, which has been under Taliban rule since 2021.
End of the news.